Productions on the track. Productions exclusive. Brand new beat. Productions on the track.
All right, guys, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, guys. Let's get going.
Productions exclusive. Brand new beat.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is CaseStudyQB, and we are the Political Junkies back at it again. Welcome to this new week, and I'm so excited to have my peoples, Carlito, Izzy, John, Gabe. We back at it again. And we got a lot to talk about this weekend. The first thing I want to talk about, and we got trivia, so we're going to go to that quickly as well. But the first thing I want to talk about is the PSAs. You know, we got our usual Nina Turner. We have all the other organizations, Voters Choice NJ, which is ranked choice voting in New Jersey. Who else? We got Gary Chambers that we've been promoting, Chambers for change.com. And I really want to highlight some situations going on with Gary Chambers. But let me go to my guys. Let's do our regular intro. Carlito, how you feeling, my man?
Doing good, feeling good. You know, thinking about my Hawks playing Gabe's Lakers tonight.
Okay, you think they're going to win?
I don't know. Who knows, man?
It's a trap game. It's the end of the road trip, so they might be able to squeeze one out.
All right. Izzy, how you feeling, my man?
I'm good. You forgot to mention my Diane Morales from
My bad.
New
See,
York.
that's what you're here for. Go ahead, give her a shout out.
All right. I feel kind of slighted, but yeah, Diane
My
Morales, Diane.NYC. Check her out. She's running for mayor of New York, and I hope she's gonna win.
Not Andrew Yang?
Not Andrew Yang, man. He's my number 3 pick right now. We'll see if he
Okay.
drops even
Number
further,
3.
depending on what other bodegas he visits.
Number 3.
So we got ranked choice voting in New York at the local level. So for the mayoral race, they're going to be able to do ranked choice voting, which is great. So as you can hear from Izzy already,
in
he's
the
saying that's his
primary,
third.
or is that for the general as well?
Not for the general, yeah.
For both. Yeah, for the general as well. Yeah. So that's really cool. And I didn't mean to slight you, my man. I'm going to have, hopefully we're going to have like some pictures I'm going to have at the beginning. John, how you feeling, my man?
I'm good. I'm here.
All
That's
right,
the important
Gabe.
part.
Yang gang.
Gabe, how you feeling?
Yang gang.
Yang gang.
Gang.
All right.
You know, I
yeah.
gotta say more about my Hawks, though. You know, they might not
Uh-oh.
win the game against the Lakers,
Okay.
but they're winning. They're winning at life right now, man. They're winning. You know, right now it's Black History Month,
Okay.
so they're doing the annual pro-state
Nice.
awareness for African American community.
Nice.
The NBA has this thing called NBA Assists,
Okay.
and the Hawks been a part of it. They donate $250 for Prostate Cancer Foundation for every time they get an assist on the floor, and they use the money for that foundation. They also do a lot of not advertisement, but like awareness, especially not only to the men, but also to the women, because they know the women are the ones that tell the guys like, yo, come on, get yourself together, because we hard-headed. So the women got to keep us in check. So they they focus on awareness towards the women as well to get us checked out. So, they're doing their thing. And as always, they're one of the trendsetters in this, with other NBA teams following along.
Nice. Awesome. All right. We're going to get into the politics now. And let me bring up, this is our guy, Gary Chambers for Congress. He's running to replace Cedric Richmond, went into the Biden administration, and there's a special election going on right now. And now this the little bit of drama that's going on right now. First, let me do a commercial for a video I did with Virginia from Louisiana for Bernie. That's her account on Twitter. And she reached out to me and said, hey, Our Revolution just endorsed Gary Chambers, and I'm really trying to promote Gary Chambers. Can you help me promote him? And I said, of course, because at that point, I already looked into the race somewhat, and I already knew Gary Chambers, even though, as you can see right now, his full website is not up yet. And that was my little pet peeve. But out of him and the other person, Karen Carter Peterson, I know that he is the more progressive in the race for various reasons, including the fact that he endorsed Bernie and she endorsed Hillary back in 2016. But definitely go check out the YouTube channel, CaseStudyQB, and listen to that audio. And I went into details into a couple of articles of why Karen Carter Peterson is not the progressive that we want. But we got some bad news today. This is some breaking stuff that here it is. Democracy for America endorsed Karen Carter Peterson for Congress, which is very disappointed because we know Yvette Simpson, right? Yvette Simpson is somebody that I call her the elite whisperer, right? Because she's on ABC News and she talks great about progressive and represents progressive awesomely on ABC News, but she's also the president of Democracy for America. I'm not saying I don't know if she's directly responsible for this endorsement, but she is at the top of it. And I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I still appreciate Democracy for America. I looked it up because I was curious if Democracy for America endorsed Bernie or Elizabeth Warren, and Democracy for America did endorse Bernie Sanders. So, they get things wrong here and there, just especially Our Revolution. I was surprised, as well that they endorsed a Hillary supporter over someone that supported Bernie Sanders. But let me does anybody want to say anything about this before I move on?
Disappointing.
Yeah. We got people in I don't know if you would call it the establishment progressive, organizations. I don't know if that's even, something we should coin, but it just shows that certain people, it's not a grassroots move. I'll put it like that. All right, let's move on. Okay, so
D Heller in the chat just said it perfectly.
Yeah, he said, I want to show some cartoons. I like to have some fun. Here's a meme. Unity, and this is the Democrats. Unity, and then, Republicans, F your feelings. Of course, that's when they're in power. And then when we're in power, accountability, and now they want unity. It's just sad.
And everything.
Yeah.
It's just sad. And then one more cartoon right here. Oh, this got too much stuff. I'll let you guys pause it if you could read it, and we'll move on from here. All right, so let's get into it. Carlito, should we do the Carlito's rundown, or you know what? I'm going to give the first trivia question, the very first trivia question. Let's go to that real quick.
Coming out hot.
Be coming in hot because I feel like I want to give the people something to have a little attention, like get their attention straight out the back. And even though it has
make
the
that
issues,
a full screen case.
Yeah, I have the full screen. Oh, here we go. Let me just bring this one up. I'm gonna knock you guys out. I'm just gonna put you. All right. So here's the first verse trivia, and for those who don't know, there's a lot of people who are joining. Getting the show, the show's becoming a little bit more popular, getting more people. So for those who don't know, we are all brothers. We are all people on the left, but the question is on what part of the left spectrum. So, there's people like me who I don't mind, and I want to popularize socialism, the socialists. I would love to see a strong socialist organization, DSA, and then there's Socialist Alternative over there in Washington. And then there's other people who rather like the term progressive. We're all on the left, and then we have Felipe, who's not here today, and he is more of a establishment left. I wonder if I hate to say that without him being here. I'd rather him describe himself. But I think all of us here would
No.
say, John.
He's a run below
don't
establishment.
Don't forget Gabe. He's a Republican progressive.
Okay. so there we go. We got people on all sides of the spectrum. So we gonna have disagreements. Like there's Jimmy Dore supporters here, and then there's people who don't like Jimmy Dore, right? So we're gonna have disagreements, but what's not going to happen is we're not going to cancel each other. That's, that's not even an option because we all brothers. We've known each other for decades, and that's not happening. It's not an option. So let's continue on. The first question: name this congressman. So this is something that I'm going to start doing. I know. John is like, who the heck is this person? And if it was me,
I know him.
Yeah, if it was me, I would be like, I don't know who this is. But there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. And I think that I'm going to be doing this more often. I'm going to be popping up a congressman that you guys might not know, but there's a reason why I'm bringing him up. So I'm assuming everybody doesn't know him because I wouldn't know him, right?
Gabe, stop Googling.
Whiterton.
Who?
No, I'm in the chat right now.
Okay.
Having fun with the.
Let me go. Let's move right into it. So
our awesome supporters.
This person is Kurt Schreider of Oregon. And the reason why I want us to know this person is because he voted against the 2000 stimulus check when it came up, when Trump was still president. And I want us to know his face because we want to primary him and we want to get him out of office. Anybody got anything to say before I move on?
Listen, I'm not gonna say it, but just go on YouTube chat and look at what Alan said. Yeah.
That's what I said. I said, why do you make Whiterton? But his is a little different.
Shout out to Alan in the chat. Much love to our chat room. All right, so let's go right into it. My man Carlito, we gonna go into Carlito's rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Let's make it quick. First article. This is from The Appeal. Meg O'Connor. Austin will use money cut from police budget to establish supportive housing. The city council voted to buy one hotel and use funds diverted from its police budget to set up wraparound services for the homeless people who will live there. They're going to use their regular budgets from their housing to buy the hotel, and then they're going to use some money diverted from the police budget in order to provide services for the residents throughout the year. What you think about that, Gabe?
You took a little bit of money from the police and a little bit of money from the military. You know how many problems in this country you could solve homelessness, solve student debt, just a little bit, not all of it. Nobody wants to abolish the police, but we just want to take a little bit and redirect it. Just a little bit. And just what you can see how powerful that amount of money is. In this case, it created 60 units for homelessness. And it's a great thing. It's a model to be used around the country.
There goes Black Lives Matter doing things again. Next article from Politico. I'm just furious. Relations in Congress crack after attack by Sarah Ferris and Melania Sonona. I'm not going to get too much into this. You guys know everything's going on in Congress. You have from Georgia, Marjorie Greene harassing Cori Bush without a mask and their staff, and she moved offices because, first of all, she don't want to catch COVID from that lady. And, it's making for everybody a harder working environment, because how you going to work with insurrectionists in good faith? They don't mean anything they say. So what can they do? I don't know. Next article, a little more positive. GM drops an EV bomb with an all-electric lineup by 2035. What it means for the auto industry. This is from Barron's by Al Root. So basically, they want to have an all-electric lineup by 2035, which is, for GM being one of the largest traditional automakers, it's going to be having massive impacts for the entire auto industry. I mean, what do you think of that, Izzy?
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's obviously, it seems like good news. I think part of me is kind of pessimistic about it. I feel like it could be a marketing ploy. They're trying to capitalize on Tesla's success recently, and Biden rejoining the Paris Accord. I'll try to be optimistic about it, but even they just say it's a quote unquote aspiration. Citing that there's other regulations and infrastructure and other factors that need to come together for their plans to be achieved. So I don't know. It's better than nothing. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, you got to see though. A lot of companies, Volvo, Audi, everybody's going electric. Volvo stopped making diesel car; they're completely electric. So I don't think it's a fake marketing move. It's just
I think a lot of that is coming from Europe, though. But I mean, hey, we need it. We need it. The bottom line is we need all the electric we can get. So
yeah, because we say also California. California is going to require all of them to be EV by what, 2030?
I forget the exact year, 2030, 2035, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I mean, aside from the good for the environment, I'm thinking about the jobs that could create. I mean, you got to build out all the stations, the charging stations. The electrical grid could be some improvement. So it could be a good job program for people to get involved in.
Yeah, and I also wonder how much money the oil industry is going to dump into trying preventing this too. So we'll have to see how that plays out over the years.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
All right, next article. Trump is leaving office, but will he be leaving Disney's Hall of Presidents? By Ken Story at the Orlando Weekly. So for the Disney enthusiasts, they have the Hall of Presidents of the Magic Kingdom, and they're saying that it's becoming a microcosm of this past years. The attraction requires live security guards due to the heckling and derision the Trump figure attracts. Large spikes were also added near the stage to protect the animatronic figure. The Central Florida theme park has struggled to address political protests within its gates, with multiple incidents of Trump flags being unfurled on rides or buildings within the park. So, like everything, Trump ruins it. So now he's ruining Disney. Now, one thing to keep it presidential, they're thinking like, why don't they just put a Hamilton exhibit in there? That's kind of presidential, so they could cash in there. Next article. Bill will withhold state funds from any Mississippi school teaching the 1619 project. This is by WLOX, Josh Carter. If passed, the Saving America History in Mississippi Schools Act, just look at that name, Saving American History in Mississippi Schools Act, will require that any school which does teach from the 1619 project curriculum to have their state funding reduced by 25%. So for those not familiar, 1619 project was developed by journalist Nicole Hannah Jones. It was good articles in the New York Times as well as a podcast talking about how the beginning of our country really was in 1619 when the first slaves came in, and chronicling basically the racist history of America then and now, and how it impacts people all throughout, including to this day. And this article is really, they're not saying much. It's actually sounds like they're giving just a platform to the politicians there, like this Senator Angela Burks-Hills, who is saying that describing the 1619 project as racially divisive. So that makes no sense. Teaching history is racially divisive, but eliminating history and being racist is not racially divisive. I don't know. That's it for the rapid fire, gentlemen.
All right. Yeah. So that's interesting. Thank you so much for the Carlitos rapid fire. I'm gonna show the next trivia question. Who plans to introduce a resolution that would strip Marjorie Taylor Greene of her committee assignments?
Richie Torrance. I don't think that's right.
Oh man! Oh no, you did it! Oh no, you did it!
I can't do that to the queen.
Carlitos personally offended.
Oh no!
There you go.
Oh no, my girl.
I'm gonna say.
I was gonna say Jamal Bowman.
Oh, I'm gonna say Bowman. Yeah.
Okay.
You know
so
what?
we got Bowman.
Curveball. I'm gonna go with Debbie.
Okay, Izzy.
No.
I'll go with Bowman.
Okay, so the answer is Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And yeah, believe it or not, and it's in the article. Yeah, it's in the article that she's going to be the person to. And I was surprised when I heard that today. That's just dropping today, that she was going to take that type of stance. But it is easy to take a stance against Republicans. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she's taking a stance for Medicare for all or for anything that's progressive. But
That's true.
She's a Republican, so that's why it's.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. But it's also popular amongst establishment Republicans to not like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Also, you know what I'm saying? Like she's going up against
secret,
Liz Cheney. Go ahead, Carlito.
they're in secret. They don't like her, but I mean, they prop her up. They're not really being loud about it.
Well, the establishment, I think, doesn't like her. The base likes her. Kevin McCarthy, he's like, you know, on the fence, but as of right now, he's supporting her because he hasn't done anything, you know, to take away her committees. He hasn't censured her. So the pressure's on for him to do something. And now the Democrats are saying, you know what, we're going to put this into our own hands. So we'll see what comes of this, because this is just her introducing the resolution. So we'll see what happens. All right. So let's go to the chat room right now, just to give the chat some love. Anybody saying anything? Anyone have any questions?
Lively discussion. No questions yet. Just you surprised a few people with that last trivia question.
Okay.
But yeah, we got a lot of good discussion from Alan E. Heller. Support policies, not politicians. Calico.
They brought up Tesla and Pelosi investing in Tesla during that article. You know, was it somebody wrote, was it Allen again, saying about the Mississippi Act, it's like saving white history in Mississippi classrooms.
Oh, wow. All right. So we're going to go to video right now. And, you know, people in the chat room, I'm going to go to you to give you all some love. So if you have any questions, and to my political junkies, look out for any questions that we can address there. So this is the first video.
Steve, you say you're okay with the plan being a legislative Trojan horse, but it needs to focus on the needy. Explain.
Yeah, I think we do need to go big. I think we do need to go bold. I think we do need to go quickly. But there are elements of this plan that I don't believe use our precious tax dollars and debt dollars very effectively. For example, the famous stimulus checks, which are now proposed to be an extra $1,400 per person, depending upon your income. There are a couple of problems with it. First, what we have literally just learned a couple of days ago is that from the checks that were given last spring, a very, very high percentage of them, particularly for people who are making over $78,000, they virtually didn't spend any of it. They essentially saved it, which is good in some ways, but obviously not the point of the current exercise. And then the second point, which relates to that, is that people making as much as $300,000 a year with a family of four can still get a piece of this stimulus money. And you're dealing with a median family income, a typical family income in this country of about $78,000. So we are sending this money all the way up to the top 10% of Americans. And I just don't think that's a good use, again, of our tax or debt.
Go ahead, Gabe.
I just want to say, a little Google search shows that Steve Ratner's net worth as of 2009, it's very likely more than this, 188 million, with the high end possibly at 600 million as of 2009. So when you hear something like that, when he's trying to tell people how people with $70,000 spend their money, is basically he has his own intentions, and that's a shame. But really, we need to look at.
No, go ahead. And he also went in there and like completely lied, like about the $300,000 family with 4 kids. Like that's a completely lie. Like there's people are not getting those checks. And and again, like who cares if people spend it or not? Give people now is a 2,000, it's now 1,400. They lied, they took forever, and give people their money because they try to invest it into AMC and GameStop and they're trying to spend that money. So give it to them.
But you also know that if it was targeted as he wants it, nobody will vote for it, because nobody in Congress, well, a lot of people in Congress, they're always talking about entitlements. If you just focus it on the poor, they're going to call it an entitlement and they're going to strike it down. So by saying that it's for everybody, even with a sliding scale, it has a higher chance of passing. So, you know, that's how you got to do it.
But I don't understand how tomorrow's going to be February 2nd. And Biden and all of these people and, you know, those 2 senators from Georgia, they ran on a $2,000 check. And again, I was one of the ones that you saw when we were talking internally. I said, you know, give him $1,400 because, you know, it was $600 plus $1,400. If you're going to do that day one, get out the door. But now it's being over 10 days and there's nothing there. So now you campaign a $2,000 check And where is it? Like, what are they doing? Like, all this executive order, what are they doing? Like, that's not fixing anything of those people that need. So people need their money.
And that's classic. That's classic Democrats. They're gonna tell you that, oh, you know, we want to negotiate with the Republicans and we want to do this. They could pass it right now. All they need to do is budget reconciliation, and they could pass the 2000 stimulus like that. So it's a matter of they don't want to do it. They're going to look for every excuse, and the people are not going to forget, because right now they don't have any excuse, because they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. So they have all the power right now.
But they're saying they're going to use reconciliation for the big bill now, though.
Yeah, they're gonna use it in June. They'll get checks.
Serious question though, do they have Joe Manchin though? I mean, because we talk about the majority, he has to be on board, and I don't know if they have his vote.
Put him up. Like, what is like 70% of West Virginians qualify for that check, or some crazy amount like that. Put him. If he goes against it, that means that when he's up for re-election, those people are going to remember.
Hey guys, I'll tell you one thing. Jim Justice, the governor of West Virginia, he's been out there strong, telling the Congress, like, hey, we need to pass this, and I don't care if money gets wasted. The majority of people out there need this money. And he's a Republican governor. He used to be a Democrat, but he moved over to Republican, and he doesn't have a great record, because I believe he comes from the oil industry or the coal industry as well. So this guy is not the biggest progressive, but he's out there. He knows people are hurting, and he's saying, let's get the checks out there. Who cares if certain people benefit more than others, but people are hurting out there. So I give him a lot of credit. And one more thing real quick, I'm going to show this. Lawrence Bromden put this in a Twitter. He responded to this tweet that I sent out with this article. Radner was caught and forced to pay $6.2 million to the SEC, as well as being banned from Wall Street for 2 years. He later paid a $10 million settlement and agreed to avoid appearing in any capacity before a New York pension fund for 5 years. So you're a crook. You're a crook, buddy. So I don't even know why he's on TV.
He did all of that, and he just get a slap on the hand, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Just you
know how he'll pay for that fine with his money from being a contributor on these networks.
Exactly.
So we got people on the chat saying that her and her husband didn't even get the 600 to begin with, and now they're slow rolling the 1400. So it's ridiculous, man.
Wow, that's sad. All right, we're gonna go back to the chat right after this next trivia. Boom. AOC and Jamal Bowman supports a New York State tax hike of how much on the wealthy? So is it $5 billion, $50 billion, $500 million?
50 billion.
500 million.
50 billion.
I go with five.
5. Okay.
Oh, 5 billion. I thought I said 5 million. 5 billion. I changed it. 5 billion.
Everybody got this wrong except for Izzy. Bam. $50 billion. So this is it. The package the duo backs includes 6 bills that supporters claim would raise more than $50 billion, including higher progressive income taxes on the wealthy, which would bring $15 billion. Taxes on capital gains investment like stocks raises $7 billion. The boost the estate and inheritance taxes by $8 billion, separate a wealth tax and billionaires as assets, which is $23 billion.
The question was misleading, man. I thought it was like a $5 billion, like
No, don't be mad because you got it
right now. Don't try to. Hey.
This is $50 billion combined.
This is the
it counts.
Thank you, Al.
This is the last one. Let me say this last statistic. And Wall Street tax on financial transactions, which would raise $12 billion. And so that's pretty much it. And also repeal Trump's corporate tax. That's down here, which would bring $9 billion in revenue. So yeah, man, going big, baby. 50 billion. So Izzy had it right. 50 billion. Yep.
That's how you negotiate. You start from there, and then maybe you get 25, but at least you get respect.
Yep.
Exactly. All right, let's go to the chat. See it. Anyone have any questions for us? Any good statements?
It looks like support policies, not politicians, got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool,
Just a
cool.
lot of good lively discussion so far.
Awesome, awesome. All right, let's go to this video.
Whether it's the Oregon GOP putting out that insanity about how the attack was a false flag operation, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, all these horrific comments that she's made coming to light. The Republican Jewish Coalition, I know you have a strong relationship with the Jewish community. They just put out a statement today saying that they're appalled by her comments and that they've opposed her previously and will continue to do so. What should happen with Congresswoman Greene, and are you at all concerned about the direction of your party?
Well, I'm concerned about the rhetoric, and I think rhetoric has consequences. I do think the rhetoric led to the insurrection of the Capitol that day, and I called for a Department of Justice investigation into this, and I know they are investigating this. I find I have no patience for these types of comments, whether it be Omar on the other side on anti-Semitic comments or whether it be members on my side of the aisle. I know Leader McCarthy is going to meet with her, and there are talks of censure, but
except Marjorie made real anti-Semitic comments and Omar did not. So there's a big difference there.
They always try to do a he said, she said, and try to throw somebody under the bus, man. Full of crap.
Yeah. Republicans would never own up to anything. They will always like try to sugarcoat it, and then you always blame the left for something and say, well, what about them?
Yeah, they could have 50 people doing that on their side, and they say, well, it's the same as this one person on the left doing something, even if they didn't do it.
Yeah,
so they're disingenuous.
That's like you say, the Wonder Woman. They just deflect.
But this shows how leadership, having weak leadership, can cause for Republicans to say statements like this. Because when he first talked about, he's of course referring to when Ilhan Omar talked about all about the Benjamins, and that was towards AIPAC and how they have a lot of money that they're out there giving out. And Nancy Pelosi put a lot of heat on Ilhan and other Democrats to apologize for something that wasn't even meant to be anti-Semitic, you know? And now, because they're like just going at Ilhan Omar for those statements, that gives other Republicans and other people justification to say, oh, she's anti-Semitic, which is terrible.
And also, he's being interviewed by Jake Tapper, so you know the pushback is weak there.
But the Democrats are weak. They don't stand up for their own, man. They're only strong against the progressives, man. They never protect their own against Republican attacks, man. And they always just. I mean, it reminds me like Obama with the person that was the head of the human was it a HUD? She was the head of HUD.
Oh yeah, no, you're talking about Shirley Sherrod.
Or agriculture department. I can't remember exactly.
Shirley Sherrod, Carlito, right? Shirley Sherrod.
Was it her? I can't remember, but the point was that somebody made a doctor video of her saying some things, and it was fake. But before an investigation, Obama told her to step down, and then it came out that it was doctor. Of course it was, because it was that man, I can't even remember his name, but he's been in jail and everything. But it was doctor video, and Obama was like, oops.
It was by Breitbart. Breitbart did it.
It was O'Keefe. It was James O'Keefe.
O'Keefe, yeah.
So of course he always licensed his videos and deceptive editing. And as soon as it came out in the headline, of course Fox News had it everywhere. Obama was like, all right, she got to go. Forced her to step down. And they didn't even wait for an investigation, find out, didn't listen to her side. And then it came out, of course, predictably, that it was fake and he was lying, and too late. Obama soft.
Yep. All right.
Same thing with this guy from oh my God, what's his name from SNL? Izzy, the comedian that became a senator.
Al Franken.
Al Franken,
yeah. So same thing with him. He had a controversial picture that wasn't really that controversial, and some weak allegations, and they made him resign.
I mean, the picture wasn't good, but I think we all agree he shouldn't have been forced to resign.
Yeah, on the chat, Alan, R.I.P. Acorn, that's another one. The Republicans spent so many years on fake hearings to trying to tear him down because they advocated and they got people voting. They registered a lot of people to vote, especially in poor communities and African-American communities. So we all know the Republicans hate voters. Of course. The Democrats let them get destroyed until they got defunded and they disappeared.
Yep, of course. All right, let's go on to this next video.
There. I mean, this is not
Chuck Schumer sort of go it alone. The Democrats can do it on their own with 51 votes with the vice president. That presumes that all Democrats are on board. Then you've got, Joe Manchin from West Virginia already out of sorts because the vice president, did interviews in West Virginia without checking in with him. Can he count on all the Democrats?
Well, that's an important question, Andrea, and I think that's part of why it is so important for the Biden administration to demonstrate that they're at least trying to push through on their commitment or, his campaign promises to work in a bipartisan fashion. And I think the White House recognizes that that's part of what's necessary here. The incentives are a little different among Democrats on Capitol Hill. There are some on the left for whom even demonstrating an interest in working on these talks this way is perceived as weakness when compared to the way Mitch McConnell ran the Senate. There are certainly people on the left who say, look at what Mitch McConnell did. We need to conduct ourselves with the same ruthlessness in getting our policy priorities moved forward. But I think they do know that Elizabeth Warren's vote and Joe Manchin's vote are equally important in a 50-50 Senate. And obviously, the rules of the chamber are such that any one person also has a lot of say here. And so if they do go forward with this, they demonstrate that they cannot find a deal with Republicans, or it becomes clear that Republicans are not, or rather I should say, the public starts to believe that Republicans are not acting in good faith, then they open up some political options for themselves there. I mean, this is not something moving forward with budget reconciliation and using these procedural moves to push something through on a party line vote. I mean, that's not something Mitch McConnell ever hesitated to do. So
Yep.
Listen, the very first thing that caught my attention was Manchin saying that the vice president of the United States got to check in to go to a state that she's the vice president of. What kind of crap is that?
Yeah. That was a big deal on The View.
That's some mafia stuff. That's gang life.
That's on The View. They talked about that, and they had an interesting talk about that, of course. And I think they used the fact that she's a woman and she's I don't know if she they didn't mention that she was black, but just to say like, oh, she's the vice president, she doesn't need to check in. I agree with that to a certain extent, and then also I hear the politicals. Well, I agree that vice presidents should be able to do whatever they want, right? The political side of this is he feels I'm going to mess up this word. What's that word where he just
territorial.
I'm having a tongue twist at this moment, but he feels that way about West Virginia and the West Virginia media. So it's like, you got to come to me so that we can talk and collaborate on what we're going to come together on as a united force to the media. And I understand that side of it, but they should be on the same page. For them not to even be on the same page means that there's some contention there. And I think the White House is trying to show the force against Manchin to say, hey, we need to pass these checks, I think.
I mean, if it's about being a united front, well, Manchin needs to get in line, first of all, because he's the oddball out from most of the senators.
Yeah.
So he's wrong in that regard to begin with.
Yeah.
They need to put the pressure on him. That's what I'm saying. That's why you talk about, like, I don't understand why Chuck Schumer they left him as the majority leader. Like, this dude, like, it's like Gabe always said it, right? If this guy was like the CEO of a company and he was not delivering by the shareholder the way that he's supposed to be delivering, the board director would totally replace him. He would not be there.
He's delivering to some shareholders, you know what I'm saying?
He's like so weak. Like they always be like, oh, we want to work on the bipartisan way. Oh, we're doing this. If Manchin is not on board, I guarantee you the pressure will put on there. You put it on the floor. And if he vote no and a Republican vote yes, they will end up passing that. And then what's going to happen?
Yeah.
He's going to get outvoted. But right now, one vote is basically hurting all the Republican Party, all the Democratic Party, because one, the left, we don't believe that they're trying to really do anything. They just always use an excuse, right? Before it was Trump, then it was Mitch McConnell, now it's Joe Manchin. So they're always going to have an excuse. If you don't have the vote, put it out there and let people show their face at those people that are voting no to those people getting those checks.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, maybe inadvertently, that excuse. it's not that they're weak necessarily. A lot of times they just don't want to pass it and they want any reason not to. They like it when Republicans are in charge because then they could come out with grand plans that the Republicans are going to shut down. Even though they don't want it, they could fake to the public that they want to do these big things. And then when they do get in power, see what happens. It went from 2,000 to maybe 1,400. You know, it's not an accident, man. They're all.
It sounds like Joe. It sounds like Joe's taking one for the team.
Yeah, you talk about shareholders. They're paying dividends to the because a lot of the same people that give to the Republicans, they give to the Democrats too.
Yeah. One thing that in the chat, real quick, E. Heller said people were running local ads to pressure Manchin on the relief checks. That's not going to stop. So I hope we're going to go to reconciliation. And we're going to need to put pressure. At least I hope so. I hope because, you know, Joe Biden is trying to do this unity, which as of right now, the Republicans, the 10 Republicans that went to the White House, they proposed, I believe it was $500 to $600 billion stimulus package, while Joe Biden wants to do 1.9 trillion. So like, that's a slap in the face to me. If you ask me, go ahead, John.
The Republican has no power. I don't understand why the Democrats want to leave the Republican to believe that they have power. You own all three. Like, you got to shove it down their throat. It's the same thing. Like, I don't understand this. I think is what the lady said, right? Mitch McConnell, if Mitch McConnell was in this position, I would guarantee you they'll get anything they want. And what's going to happen is people keep forgetting. There was people that like swallowed their pride once again in 2016, 2020 to say, oh, we're just going to get rid of Trump. In 2022, the Democrats are going to get like slaughtered because people are not going to believe them. Like you can't spend weeks trying to figure out if you're going to work with Republicans or not. People are not going to forget that. And then what are you going to say? Well, we've lost because of the left. Like, you can't blame Bernie anymore. You can't blame Trump. You can't blame Mitch McConnell. You the only thing you're blaming is yourself. And the longer you wait for those people to get the check, the longer it's going to, the harder it's going to get for you to like maintain power come 2022.
Even if they don't want to do like a big progressive policy like we want, they could have some middle to ground moderate, crap that is a little good and just force that down, even if it's not what we want, but at least we show power. Because if they show power, then the Republicans, they have no choice but to negotiate. They're going to be like, well, we're going to get nothing. Let us try to at least get something in there. So we'll negotiate with them so we could get a little something of what we want in that bill. But right now they're being stupid. Even like, I know they don't want to do anything like big, like a big climate change bill or anything like that, but they could do something, weak sauce that they kind of want, but do it forcefully at least and show they got some strength.
All they got to, the thing is, go ahead, John hit it right on the head. Joe Manchin is taking off with the team. He is being a scapegoat, and it's with the party's help. They're telling him, we need you to take this, because if not, they would say, listen, if you don't do this, you're going to get all of the might of the Democratic Party against you. If you don't vote for this, you're going to have a primary. We're going to back the challenger. We're going to pull as many of your donors as we can, and you're not going to be able to do it. You might as well become a Republican, because it's just terrible. But to show that it's not the case, he's just doing it for the team. That's it.
They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose big because people are struggling. And again, like, the Republicans have no power. Like, I this is what frustrates me about Democrats. Like, I don't understand why they already spent 10 days. They try to negotiate with them. They don't want to negotiate. Put them on blast. Because at the end of the day, those policies that you're trying to go through is the policy that you campaign on, and it's policy that are popular among the people. So if you give the people the things that they need, they're going to remember that. And when you campaign on that, they're going to be like, well, they held down to the whatever they campaign on. So yes, I'm going to vote for that person again. But if we don't get anything till June, like, people just going to stay home. People are just not going to vote for them.
Yeah, we got weak.
Yeah, how are you going to get historic turnout in an off year when you're not delivering? It's already hard enough to get support and votes in the midterm, and now you did that. You're just hoping that the people that came out for record turnout in November 2020 are going to come out in this 2022. They're not going to come out. They're going to stay home, just like they did in 2018 and 2020. It's going to happen again.
100%. All right.
E. Heller in the chat says it sounds like VP Harris is putting pressure on Manchin and Sinema too. There's a PJ Media story about it, so I guess we got to look that up. I'm all for. I agree with you, John, that they have to put the pressure. They can't really play around with his vote, though. I mean, he should be pressured into voting for it no matter what. But if you have to delay this because you can't get Manchin's vote, then that's going to look even worse. It's just not a good look when people need this money now. I have no issue with Biden having 10 senators over to just listen to them rant and put their crap out in public, basically their BS bill out or suggestion out in public, and then be like, all right, leave, because now we're going to pass 1.9 trillion and we're going to give $1,400 checks. If that's what was happening, I have no issue with that. But we know Joe Biden is probably seriously in there considering their proposal and actually listening to them to see how he can compromise.
All right,
the debt ceiling only matters when the Democrats are in power.
Yep, let's move on to the next trivia question. Which Democratic congressman deleted tweet urging Israel to vaccinate Palestinians? We got Richie Torres, Jamal Bowman, and Ilhan Omar.
Anytime that Richie Torres is in Syria, I'm picking Richie Torres.
Richie Torres.
John, say that again, just like how you did. Say that. I want the people to see what you did.
Anytime that dude is in the trivia, I'm picking Richie Torres. Every time. I don't care if I get it right or wrong. I'm picking that guy.
All right.
Calling you out, dude.
I can't stand that guy, man.
Yeah, I hear you. So let me bring back up the pictures. All right. So who we got? Somebody put Torres already. The love always. Okay.
I say Omar.
Okay. Gabe.
I say Richie.
The answer
That was my
is
instinct.
Jamal Bowman.
Mia got it right. She called
Bowman. Yeah.
Oh, Mia's in the house.
Kobe.
Yeah. So this is what happened.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah. With in the clutch.
He's the savage.
So this is the last trivia question. But basically, this is what he said. Netanyahu must ensure that both Israel and Palestinians have access to the COVID vaccine. This cruelty is another reminder of why the occupation must end. To me, that's harmless. I don't know why he deleted it or whatever, but
he used the word occupation. That's why.
And that's what this person, Alex Kane, he said, Jamal Bowman has deleted this tweet. He had come under attack from the usual suspects through nothing in the tweet was wrong. Yeah, though nothing in the tweet was wrong. Yeah, I agree. Nothing in the tweet was wrong. And probably, whoever is his Israel friend, because he does have Israel or Jewish constituents in his, in his district. But to me, there was nothing wrong with that question.
Yeah, I mean, he took over Engel's district, which, obviously Engel was big with the Jewish community, but I agree. I mean, this is just like what Gabe brought up before. This is an Al Franken thing all over again. Not that he's going to be, vacated from his seat or anything, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, and for some reason he's against the BDS, the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement. Also, he hasn't come out in favor of that, so which is kind of interesting. So I don't know if that has to do with anything as well. But
he probably doesn't want to be in Omar's camp because she got in trouble for that. So
but I mean, we need strong Democrats, man. But I want him to be effective.
He doesn't want to get called to the principal office.
We don't even get them to say Black Lives Matter. You think we're gonna get them to say Palestinian Lives Matter? They're definitely not. That's not true. They're not even lives to them. It's terrible.
Fortunately. True. All right, let's go to this.
For the record, Palestinians should, be liberated, freaking just give them, whether you're going to do a two-state solution, whatever you're going to do, just get them out of the occupation that they're under. It's 2021.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree with you. All right, I was just about to go to this video, but it's not the right video, but I'm going to play this video right here. This one is the one I was talking to you about Justice, Jim Justice.
COVID relief. Are you saying, Governor, that we need to go big on this next round of relief?
I absolutely believe we need to go big. I believe forevermore that it was ridiculous beyond belief to have Democrats and Republicans fighting and couldn't pass the stimulus package for months. And I'm not going to cast blame, but it was god awful. That's just all there is to it, because you had people that were suffering, that needed to pay their power bill, needed to pay their, their rent or their car payment or whatever it may be. You had people suffering that their businesses were going down the drain and everything else. And at this point in time in this nation, we need to go big. We need to quit counting the egg-sucking legs on the cows and count the cows and just move and move forward and move right now. We need to go big, and if we waste some money now, well, we waste some money. But absolutely, we've got too many people hurting, and the economy is going to sputter, and we've got to get ourselves out of this mess, and it's the way we need to go right now.
What the blood fire?
That's what I was telling you guys earlier. That's what I was telling you guys. You got to stop counting the egg-sucking cows.
you got a Republican from West Virginia say, that's what I'm saying. Like, if Biden, he has the people like backing, like, go big, and people will vote for them come 2022. Like, there's just, I don't understand why they're wasting their time listening to these Republicans. Like, they have no power. Just go big and call it a day. Tomorrow they should just introduce that bill, vote for it, and keep it moving.
I take back everything I said before. That dude, for him to sound more left than Joe Manchin, this should be a no-brainer for West Virginians.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, West Virginia, and I think I was like, because it was like a 70% of West Virginians qualified. It was a very high number like that qualified for this check. So how are you going to have your senator telling you that, no, I'm not voting for something that affects 70% of your state? So,
and the Republican governor supports.
And
the Republican governor.
And the thing is, I don't even know what he loses from that. It's not like it's like raising taxes or anything. He's just helping people out, give him a little handout, get popular. It's a win-win. I don't get it.
If you pass this, what's going to happen next? You're going to start letting cows marry goats or whatever the hell he said in that stupid quote?
I mean,
cows marry chickens. That's always the Republican talking point, right? If you do this, what happens next?
But the fact that you have the governor there, like, that even gives you more power as a Democrat. Like, Chuck Schumer should just be like, we're going to go. You either get on board or you're just going to get, like, blasted in public.
You know who? If we had strong, aggressive progressives, right? Kamala, who had the right idea going over there, Kamala, who had the right idea, she should. What I would do is go have a meeting with the governor, and go have a meeting with the governor and the press, and have him say what he just said, and she could just nod her head, say, "Yep, I totally agree with him."
And don't invite Manchin.
Go around him.
Well, what is Chuck Schumer doing? Isn't he? He's supposed to be the majority leader. He needs to just go in there and just, this is what we're going to do, and tell the BP, we need you to come down to the Senate because we need you to vote. That's it. And Joe Manchin could do it, and you could put the Republicans on, like, they have all 50 of them say no. They are going to be a lot of them for re-election. They're not going to say no. So that's what I'm saying. They have the vote. They just want to find an excuse to keep telling people no. Like, it's February 2nd. These people need to pay the rent. They need money. They need money to buy GameStop. Like, come on.
Another thing they could do is send the most popular politician in America, the man with the mittens, Bernie Sanders. Send him in. He's an independent, so they can't blame, like, oh, he's a fellow Democrat. No, he's an independent who caucus with the Democrats, and have him do the interview with the governor, and he could say, hey, we need those checks, and put some pressure. We just need to put pressure on Joe Manchin, and I think if we do that, then Kristen Sinema over there in Arizona.
They should just have the vote. Just have the vote. Let it be 49-51, and Manchin be the only Democrat not to vote for it. Oh my God, that would be amazing, because they'll come back and they're going to pass it again because he'll regret it. But also, he'll be gone. He'll be gone. They're going to hate him forever in West Virginia.
Carlito, the problem
not going to be for 4 years, though.
He's not.
Actually, you know what? They probably a Republican will vote for it and he won't.
I was going to say that, Gabe, that he's up for election in 4 years. So that's the only unfortunate part. And, you know, Americans, we don't have a long. Manchin. Yeah. Yes, in 4 years from now. So we don't have.
We'll start making him look bad from now. He could look bad every year.
All you have to do is just take away his power. Don't put him in any committee. Do what they do to progressive. Don't put him in the committee.
Nah,
take
they
him
can't
out,
do that.
and
They
then
can't
again,
do that,
like,
John. They can't do that because
Listen.
then from now on, that literally he's going to flip over to become a Republican, and then the
I don't-
Democrats.
He already is a Republican.
He's already a
He already
Republican.
is.
But then he's
Emma,
not going to
you know-
vote
you know
for you
what?
guys. He's not going to vote
You know
for the
what?
Democrats. Go ahead, John.
AOC should tweet tonight that if Chuck Schumer doesn't bring that tomorrow, she's going to primary him. That's how you put pressure on the leadership, because he's so afraid that she's going to primary him.
Yeah. And there's an article that said, I read the headline that talks about how he's in the process of trying to get all the progressives and liberal organizations to back him, instead of AOC. But I say good luck. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he's afraid. That's why he's tweeting about student loans right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say before.
That's what a primary does. They scare people. I would love. We have a very good person that who works on a show called Rising, who has West Virginia roots. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying. I'm not going to say her name, but I'm just going to put that out there. But anyway, let's go to the next video right now. All right, this is the video. This is the video I wanted to show. This is interesting.
There's so much history here. 12 years ago, President Obama was trying to sell a handful of Republican senators on stimulus and health reform and regrets that he didn't go bigger. Now Biden has 10 senators willing to come to the table. How do you navigate all of this? Just to say it's not only on party lines, because I just saw Craig Melvin interviewing Jim Justice, the Republican governor of West Virginia, a job that Joe mentioned used to have. And he says, go big. A lot of Republicans are saying go big, including Kevin Hassett, the former CA chairman under Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's a great question, Andrea. And we're all kind of a slave to our own history. And in 2009, I helped negotiate the Economic Stimulus Act in the White House, and we bent over backwards for 3 Republican votes. And what history taught us was we didn't pass a big enough bill, and we had slower growth coming out of that than we needed. And so the Biden people, were all there. They're looking at this saying, look, the number one thing we got to do is make sure we have enough in this package. The number two thing is see if the Republicans are actually real and really want to negotiate. Because I quote Mitch McConnell in 2017 after Trump won the White House when he said, look, winners get to make policy and losers go home. Now, Republicans have, they're in the minority in all 3 branches here. And now they're saying, take it or leave it. This is a bipartisan proposal. This is not a bipartisan proposal. This is 10 Republicans who said this is what we could vote for. The question is whether they're going to move and whether they're willing to move. And those are the 2 things that President Biden has to decide. How big is absolutely have to have? And then 2, do I actually have a willing negotiating partner to move this forward? Because if he doesn't, to Casey's point, we can go right to reconciliation and get this thing done.
Get it done, baby.
Thank you.
Get it
done.
done.
To Case's point, I was like, wait, damn, you blew up that big?
You don't negotiate with terrorists.
Listen, Biden is a one-term president. Like, I don't understand. Like, dude, pass everything you need. You're not going to get reelected. You're not going to run again. Like, just go. Like, who cares? Like, it's so frustrating, man. Like, this is like really frustrating that Mitch McConnell always, like they said, right? Winners make decisions, loser go home. That's what they should tell them.
Yeah.
Just get on board. Like reconciliate. That's what they should say.
Like National Treasure Jimmy Dore says, the Democrats are the best.
Where's my
The Democrats are the best at snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Proud boy platformer Jimmy Dore.
Wait, Gabe, say I'm sorry. Say that one more time because I missed
it. Not just without the beginning part.
The Democrats are the best at snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah. This is what I got to say about
pretty
this,
much
right?
They can lose even when they win, they lose.
Yeah. So basically, this is Jim Messina, who has experience with Obama, and who has more experience than the freaking vice president at that time, Joe Biden, and he was right in the thick of things when they were racking their heads to try to get Republicans to come over. Like Jim just said, they was trying to get these 3 guys, and they had to water down their stimulus bill so much just for 3 Republicans. And right now we have the insurrectionist party. That's who these people are. Until they censure those insurrectionists in the Senate and in the House, you are negotiating with terrorists. So do not negotiate with terrorists. Just stick with your 51 votes and get it done.
Boom.
That's what I say. Drop mic. Let's go end the show.
If-
All right, guys.
if
Much
they want-
love to everybody.
If they want to keep winning, that's what they have to do. Because the Republican Party is really broken, and like you really have to be really, really, really bad to lose to them. And that's what the Democrats are really being, really, really bad.
Put your foot down on the neck right now. By the way, real quick, E. Heather said Biden is a quarter-term president. That was great.
Yeah. Alan Amberster got the person that I was talking about, just to give him a shout out. Go ahead, Carlito.
I think Kamala Harris will do better than him, man. Honestly, I think she'll be more cutthroat. I think she'll be more cutthroat.
I don't want to find out.
Cutthroat against the working class.
Yeah.
Cutthroat, keeping prisoners in prison.
Yeah.
She'll be pressured. She'll be pressured.
I don't want to find out, honestly. Let's.
Well, you're going to find out in 2024, my friend.
I know. I was about to say that. We got 2 minutes left, so we have open discussion. And for people in the chat, anything, questions, if you guys read anything you see, that's really good from the chat. But 2024. Kamala is probably going to be the person that I think there was a poll that came out recently that, her popularity is up there. And of course, the excuse is going to be, she was vice president, so she's perfect to be president. That's going to be everyone's excuse.
Listen, you can save this recording.
Okay.
If she is the primary, if she's elected as the Democratic candidate, they will lose.
Why?
But who's going to vote for her?
Not me. I wanted to see what you're gonna say, because this. Who's
gonna vote? Are you gonna swallow? Are you gonna swallow?
No. I'm talking about because there's the same reason, not the same reason, but one of the reasons for Hillary, because she's a woman. Now we have a black woman. They're saying like the suburbs are not gonna vote for her automatically. A lot of the moderates or fake moderates, whatever, they're not gonna vote for her. So she probably gonna do worse than, I don't know who, worse than Kerry. I mean, she probably get destroyed just of the racism, man.
It all depends. It's not even a. Go ahead.
The left is not going to swallow their pride again. Are you going to swallow your pride again and vote for her? I'm not voting for her.
Nah, well, I want to. I'm. Let me see if she's going to be president in next year, as E. Heller says. Let's see what she does in her 3-year term.
Gabe, go ahead, Gabe.
We're one week in. The Democrats are already showing they have no intention of passing any kind of serious legislation. They can do executive orders, but they don't want to pass legislation. And if that keeps up, it's going to be losses in 2022. And no matter who they run in the establishment, unless it's a progressive that wins the primary, they're going to lose in 2024. Because it's not about being the first black, the first woman, the first Spanish, the first this. It's about the policies. And they're going to have the most diverse cabinet in history that did the same policies as the Obama administration and the Clinton administration.
It's like, and I know we over, but it's like, like that defense secretary, right? They're like, he's the first black defense secretary, but he was the board director of Raytheon. Like, be happy. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. I just want to play Felipe's advocate real quick, devil's advocate here. That I agree with you, but when we're talking about 2024, we're talking about the president, right? So we're talking about Biden. So far, he's doing okay. He's passed a lot of executive action that he can do. I'll give him a little, tennis clap for that. If his administration could keep this up for 4 years, I highly doubt that they would. But if they could, there could be some shot there for Harris. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out.
I agree with what could happen if they go down the road that you described. But I'm in the expect the worst, hope for the best kind of thing. I'm not ready to just automatically assume it's going to be like that. We have Bernie trying to help us out, pushing for reconciliation. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't even be happening right now. So this got to be pressure, be kept up this whole time so we could get some things. If we're just going to be negative from right now, then what's the point?
Yeah. Let me say this. Like in 2022, we have from now until 2022 to make some substantial change in ordinary people's lives. So that is going to take progressive pressure in Biden to make sure that hopefully we can get this reconciliation through. And then, because if we lose the House, if they don't do that and we lose the House in 2022, then the next 2 years until 2024 is just going to be a wash because Republicans are going to continue to just, filibuster and not allow Biden to do anything. The only hope, so let's say worst case scenario, somehow they lose the House, the Democrats lose the House or the Senate. The only hope is what Kyle Kalinske and David Dayen talks about in using executive action to legalize marijuana, or at least take marijuana off the Schedule 1, right? And then also do do Medicare for all during COVID. And I can't think of the third one. I think, maybe student debt, try to forgive student loan debt. If Biden did that, he could do that right now. Democrats will be elected for the next 4 years if he could do that right now.
Easily.
Just legalizing cannabis would get a whole generation behind you.
Yeah.
Maybe,
All right, next generation.
Maybe he's holding that in his holster for later.
I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. You're more optimistic than me on that one. But let's give the chat.
Saying maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I hear you.
Next year.
All right, let's give the chat some love. Let's give the chat room some love on our way out, and then we're going to end the show.
So we had a lot of good, lively discussion. Nancy Vantrick came through at the end. She gave her little comment about the media basically never talking about how, the country doesn't provide income and healthcare like it does for every other country in the world, although Bernie always talks about it.
Yeah.
A lot of good discussion from E. Heller, from Alan, from Calico. We just, a lot of good contributions today. Erica, we really appreciate you all.
Yep. And the love always. Thanks for coming out. And
yeah, definitely.
Always
she got the one. I think she probably Googled that answer because she came through right before the timer went up. But we'll give her credit. She got it.
That was like 20 seconds out right there.
Mia, much love to Mia. We finally got your name down. All right. And
Calico
with that
Jack
said,
TV.
Oh yeah. Yeah, thanks. Much love to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much to our guys, my guys, Carlito, Izzy, John, Gabe. Any last words?
Hawks over Lakers.
Okay, I got to say Gary Chambers.
Hold the Democrats accountable.
Hold the Democrats accountable from Gabe. Gary Chambers. Go to Chambers for Congress, chambersforchange.com. Try to throw some coins if you can and let everybody know. We got to get the word out there. I'm thinking about we might try to do a pressure campaign to get Justice Democrats to endorse Gary Chambers. I'm talking to Virginia, who I interviewed. Go check out that interview, please. CaseStudyQB at YouTube, where I talked to Virginia, who's with Louisiana for Bernie, and we went into details and all the corruption that Karen Carter Peterson, who is now endorsed by Our Revolution and Democracy for America, she has a bad record. So hopefully go over there, check that out, educate yourself, and let's go support Gary Chambers. Much love to everybody. Thank you for coming out. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We are the Political Junkies, and if you're here, you're a political junkie, so you're with the crew. You're one of us. Much love. Adios.